Enterprise test data tutorial video, we're going to be looking at how we can leverage custom functions when we're data masking. In this video, we're going to be going through a custom function which is used to calculate a risk score. Our risk score is going to be based on two inputs, which is a transaction type and an amount. Depending on a condition, we are going to return a risk score. On the left-hand side here, you'll see some of the logic that we're going to apply to create these outputs. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a table of the inputs and outputs that will be produced in terms of our risk score. So we're going to create a function in code, and we're going to leverage this in our masking routines as we perform masking. Now, to be able to do that, we're going to go through a few steps in this tutorial. Firstly, we're going to go into Visual Studio and code our own custom function. We're then going to build that function and deploy it. We're going to register our custom function inside the Enterprise Test Data portal. And then finally, we're going to perform our masking by leveraging the custom function that we have. Okay, so I've just opened up Visual Studio, and the first thing we need to do is create a new project. Now, in this case, we want to be creating a class library. Specifically, we're going to target the .NET framework. Now, this particular library is going to be for financial transactions. And we need to create this for .NET Framework 4.8. This is really important. This is going to be the framework version which aligns with our enterprise test data installation. Once we're happy, we can click Create here to create the project. And what we'll get back is an empty class in Visual Studio. Now, for us, we are going to delete the class that comes by default. And we're going to create a new class here. And this class is going to be for our risk calculator. We're going to make this public, firstly. What we've already produced is a function that will calculate our risk score dependent on a transaction type and an amount. Now, it's really important this function is static, okay, and it's really important that this compiles correctly as well. You do need to have a unique name, so it's worth checking that this is unique and it's relevant to you. But the main piece here is your function that you're going to be utilizing is static. Once you've produced your function, you should go in and you could click the build button, which is going to go off and build our DLL. Now, if we come into our project folder here, be able to do is pull down this DLL. So let's go in and take a look at the project. What we see is that we've got that DLL present. Now, the next thing for us to do is to map this DLL and bring it onto our server installation. For us, we're going to be using a virtual machine that we have available, which has our VIP server installed. Now, what we need to do firstly is stop the VIP server from running by stopping the following services. Once we are ready, we should open up a new Explorer window and we should go to the program data directive. And we can do that by using %program data%, going to VIP and then going to the add-ons folder. And this is where we need to copy and paste our DLL. I've just copied our DLL and I'm going to paste it into the folder here. And next what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up our VIP server so it's back up and running. Now we've embedded this library that we've created inside our VIP server instance. Step we need to perform is we need to register this function within VIP. Now for us, we need to go to configuration and we need to go to functions. Next, what we need to do is come into a category. So we're going to be using the finance category. And now we can add a new function. So for us, we're going to add a function, and this is going to be for our risk calculations. And the description is going to be for performing risk calculation from transaction type and amounts. Now, in the function name, it's really important we give the class name followed by the static function we're going to be calling. In our case, we're going to be returning an integer. And we want this to be used for masking as a context. The next thing we need to give is our parameters. Now, the first parameter is going to be our transaction type, and this is of type string. Next parameter that we're going to embed is going to be our amount, which is of type decimal, and this is the amount of the transaction. We'll hit save. What we can now do is we can save this function, and what will happen is that will become available below here inside our masking context. So we have that function. And now what we can do is we can leverage this within a data activity. Okay, so we're inside our masking activity. If we open up our rule set, we have one available for our transactions table. And we're masking the transaction type and the amount. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to replace our risk score. So we're going to come in here and select our risk calculation function. And we're going to use our transaction type and our yeah. Okay. And you'll see that we're now leveraging the function we just created. We can now come up and execute our masking algorithm. We'll see as our mask is complete. Let's go and look at our transactions table. See here is we've got the different risk scores being computed based off of the different input types of amounts and transaction types available. If you would like to learn more, visit curiositysoftware.ie.